I'll ask you to tell the court that information also, but go ahead and make your opening statement, sir. Thank you.
Yes, my request to the court is for appropriate orders regarding visitation and child support, given all the circumstances, and regarding whether I've spoken to his mother. I have spoken to his mother, but not for several months. I talked to her once extensively for maybe, I don't know, between 15 minutes and a half an hour or so, when I was trying to locate Mr. Jones. There was a period of time where I couldn't find him before he obviously and I were able to connect and make contact. But I haven't talked to her since. When I spoke to her about the case in general, she had indicated to me that essentially she just kind of wanted to stay out of the picture. That was my general impression of what she said to me. I can't say for certain whether she would be willing to supervise or not, but I believe she wants to just kind of stay out of all of it. She doesn't want to be involved in anything. It's kind of my impression.
All right, so what else are you asking for today, sir?
Me?
Yeah, what are you specifically going to request the court to do today?
Well, I mean, regarding visitation, it has to be an appropriate order given the various circumstances. I'm not certain what an appropriate order looks like in this case at this time. And then regarding support, I believe my client testified last time that he has not held a regular job in several years, and he has had a number of mental health conditions that have prevented him from working. So I just asked the court to factor those in when determining whether support should be ordered in this case.
All right, and Mr. Rumhall, I have several cases where circumstances somewhat similar, and I was trying to, and I got back with all the docket sheets that state the clerk always puts a new docket sheet in every time, and there's nothing on this docket sheet about it. Last docket sheet from the 26th about it. But does Mr. Jones get SSI?
No.
No, I believe he testified last time that he's in the process of applying, or he was going to start applying soon if he hasn't already.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Down.
Your Honor, so that I actually request some guidance from the court. If we're possibly going to be able to finalize this today, then I'd ask that I could have permission to ask questions that go to the finances. I believe what I was probably going to request of the court, but I could certainly see why the court might not do this. Mr. Jones testified that between the retroactive period, which was May of 2022, and today, he's been out approximately 2/3 of the time. So it's 27 months, the total amount of time. So I would go 18 months by $260, which was the guideline retro that I calculate. And then as a matter of policy, I'm supposed to request guideline child support, guideline medical support. And I could certainly see why the court may or may not do that based on the circumstances.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody. I'll start with let's see. I'm going to let you go first. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and I'll let the ad litem go first, then Mr. Brimhall, and then Mr. Diamond. So at this time, Ms. Gustafson, I'm going to swear the parties in and allow you to call your first witness. So Ms. Garcia and Mr. Jones, please raise your right hands. And Ms. Garcia, unmute yourself. All right, do you both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give here today is the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth, so help you?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you both very much. I'll go ahead and allow Ms. Gustafson to proceed. Thank you.
I'd like to call Bryant Jones.
Mr. Jones, take your full name for the record, sir.
I'm Brian Wayne Jones.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Jones, since we were in court on July 26th, have you seen any of your doctors?
Yes.
And who did you see?
My physician that administered the shot.
Okay. So this was your psychiatrist?
No, not a psychiatrist. I don't see a psychiatrist. I see a physician.
So your primary care physician?
Yes.
And this is the doctor that gave you the shot for the bipolar?
I'm assuming it's bipolar. They haven't told me.
Okay.
But yeah.
So this was the medication that you were telling us about previously that was going to treat if you had a bipolar disorder versus schizophrenia?
Yes.
Okay. And when we were here last time, you had had one shot, and this was the follow-up shot?
Yes.
Okay. And if I recall correctly, you're supposed to get a shot every 30 days. Is that right?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that you felt like the medication was going well and he can decide to continue that? Okay. Did he change any of your other medication?
No.
Okay. And are you feeling better?
Yes.
Are you continuing to see a therapist?
I've never seen a therapist. That's where you're wrong.
Okay. Did he speak to you about seeing a therapist?
No.
And do you have any plans to see a therapist?
No.
Have you been speaking to your children?
Yes.
And has that been going well?
Yes.
Have you had any problems?
No.
Have you spoken to your mom about maybe supervising your visitation?
Nope. And a hell no.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said last.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, can you find a spot and remain sedentary, sir? Don't move around so much, please. Thank you.
When we were last here, did you mention that you had spoken to an attorney about applying for Social Security?
Yes.
And have you actually made that application?
Yes.
And you've completely filled out the forms and returned them to your attorney at this point?
Not my attorney. You don't return them to your attorney. You turn them to the Social Security Administration Office, which is online on their website.
Okay, so you don't have an attorney that has applied for you. You applied for yourself?
Yes, you apply for yourself, and then when you do that, you tell you notify the lawyer that you filed for him. It's a different task than y'all's.
Okay. But you are working with an attorney?
No, not right now, because I'm waiting on the attorney to give me a call back.
Okay. So you've applied on your own for Social Security?
Yes.
Can you tell us what date that you did that?
No, ma'am.
Do you not recall the date?
No, I do not.
Was it within the last month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you still living in Temple in your mom's home?
No, I'm living in a homeless shelter on Belton Drive. Yes, I'm living in Temple.
Mr. Jones, nobody's trying to come back here, sir. We're just trying to find out what's going on and get the correct information. So
Sure.
don't be facetious. Just listen to the person and ask the question. Thank you.
That's what y'all see from y'all side.
So, just to clarify, you're still in the same address in Temple, is that right?
Yes.
Is there anyone else living there with you?
Mother and brother.
So you're living in the same home as your mom?
Yes, I am.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brumwell.
Can you hear me okay?
I hope so.
Okay. are you currently on any kind of criminal probation?
No,
When did you finish probation?
I never was on probation.
Okay. When was the last time you were incarcerated? Like what day were you released?
January 22nd of 2020.
Okay. Since our last court date, have you been hospitalized in any kind of psychiatric facility or inpatient healthcare facility?
No,
When was the last time you were hospitalized?
I don't know when. I cannot recall the date.
Was it within the last 3 months?
No,
Was there a time this year?
I'm not for sure. I cannot recall.
All right.
You're supposed to be working with me, not against me.
Okay. You said you'd spoken with your children since the last court date. How did you speak with them? Like by telephone or by video call?
Video call.
Sorry?
Video call. Facebook
Okay.
Messenger.
Okay. And how long was the call?
About an hour, hour and a half.
Okay. Was there anything significant that occurred during the call?
Yeah, I got told that I'm not sustainable by Elizabeth's efforts and guidelines, so I cannot speak to my child or children. I have the messages.
Okay, so can you explain what happened and what was said a little better?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull that up for you.
Okay, so I'm talking about a call. You said you spoke with them for an hour.
It was a video call on Facebook Messenger.
Okay, and was Miss Garcia on it or no?
Yes, but then the second time she had called, I called, she answered, and she said, no, they're not up. And yes, it was the first day of school at the new school that they were going to. I said, question mark. She said, I'm just packing before I have to go to work. I said, which is? And she said, which is what? School. And I can visit them at school sometime soon. At school, I don't know. We just started the new school today. Plus the 16th is when we have court. That's all they are, whatever. They're starting doing the visitation once we figure that out. Can I be on emergency contact this year then? Then she goes to, once you are stable and have a vehicle.
Okay, Mr. Jones, look, the court gave you Saturdays and Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. to make your calls.
Which I did, but I got that in response.
Okay, so what day was all of that text? Was that on Thursday last week?
That was Thursday
of last week, or when?
Yeah.
20
last week.
Okay. And so are you saying you were not able to talk on that Thursday? Is that what you're saying?
Was not able to.
Like not even for a minute, or you just got a shorter call than you anticipated?
Exactly what I meant. Was not able to.
Okay, so no call was attempted? Is that right?
Judge.
I'm just trying to look. I asked you a question.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, it sounded like you were the original testimony you were giving. That information was in the morning before school started. Was that what you were reading, sir, or was that last Thursday night? That's what I think Mr. Bremall was trying to figure out.
Thursday night. Thursday night.
6:30. All right, thank you, sir. You may proceed, Mr. Bremall.
Okay. Have you, I believe at the last hearing you said you were not presently employed. Is that right?
I'm not.
Okay. Have you obtained a job since then?
I have an interview
When's your interview?
Tuesday.
Next week, the 20th?
Yes.
Where's it at?
Spherion,
What kind of job is it?
forklifting,
Is it in a warehouse or a construction site?
forklifting. It's in a warehouse.
Okay. Do you know what the job is? Is it going to be a part-time or a full-time job?
It's going to be a full-time job.
How many hours do you anticipate working?
Do not know. It's going to be full-time, so I'm expecting 40 hours or more.
Okay. Do you have transportation?
I'm going to have my 2 feet.
Okay. So let me clarify. Last time at court, I think you said you did not have a vehicle, correct?
Yes, my vehicle got stolen.
Okay. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes. Let me get all into the camera for you.
And it's not suspended, it's active, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you anticipate walking to your job site? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay. How far away is your job site?
I don't know. Not yet. I don't know, sir.
Where is it going to be located? Do you know?
I don't know.
Move on.
All right.
Move on.
What kind of peer, can you hear me? Are you there?
You can hear you, Mr. Brimall. Move on.
Right. What kind of periods of possession are you requesting from the court?
A normal child agreement custody.
And what does that mean to you?
What I was doing before y'all got implied into all this bullshit.
And
All right, Mr. Jones, that's it. You're muted.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I don't have any other questions.
All right, then. Mr. Diamond, questions of I'm muting them. This is not going anywhere with Mr. Jones. So I'll go ahead and let him call the next witness, and then I'll let you 3 gentlemen speak to Ms. Garcia, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
I'd like to call Elizabeth Garcia.
All right, Ms. Garcia, state your full name for the record, ma'am.
Elizabeth Alexis Garcia.
Thank you.
Miss Garcia, since we were in court last, has Mr. Jones been exercising visitation or telephone visitation with the children?
Yes, the first time we had it, he couldn't do it. He was busy, I guess, in Austin or San Antonio trying to sell something to some woman, so we couldn't do it. And then this last one, I couldn't do it because they were already in bed early for school because school started the next day. So I told them that.
Okay, so the visit occurs at 6:30 and the kids were already in bed at 6:30 p.m.?
Yeah, because it takes them a while to go to bed. If I put them in at like 7:30, they don't go to sleep until like 10:30 at night because they all stay up and, there's a whole bunch of them, so it takes a while for them to go to sleep.
Okay. So would it be helpful if we adjusted the time to maybe 6 so that,
yes.
Okay, so that they have time to speak and then adjust, or does it need to be a little earlier than even that?
Well, we could actually do it, I'd say 5:30.
Okay.
It'd be easier just in case, because I'm telling you, it's a handful trying to get them to go to sleep.
Okay, so if it's during the week, since school has begun, it would be helpful to move the time to 5:30.
Yeah, and then so Monday through Friday we could do 5:30, and then Saturday and Sunday we could do I'd say 6.
And those are times where it's most
convenient,
appropriate and convenient for the children. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. So did he have any actual phone visitation with the kids since we were in court last?
Yes.
Okay. And How many times did he speak on the phone with the kids?
I want to say on the days that it was like the Wednesday and then the Thursday that we were supposed to have, we did talk. And then he did message about asking to be on their emergency contact at school. Mm-hmm. And I told him I'm not sure yet. I don't think it's appropriate yet until he gets himself stable and stuff, because what if I can't get the kids and they call him and he wants to get them, but he has no transportation? And if his mom can't take him or his sister, how is he supposed to get the kids? And let's say I'm at Walmart at Temple, I'm running late, and they call him, how he's supposed to get them? He's going to walk and go get them from Temple to their school. And then, that's why I was saying and I said also wait for court, because we still haven't done the visitation thing yet, like in-person visitation. So that's why I kind of told him.
And actually at this point, he's not able to have any unsupervised time with the children.
That in general. Right? Yeah, that in general, stating by you guys, because we still haven't figured out who's gonna be there to supervise the visit. So that's the problem. That's the thing. It's a whole mess.
Did he seem to accept that answer from you?
As you can tell. No.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just I need verbal. I can't. Shaking your head does not. No. You got to go on to the record. No. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Did the kids seem to respond well to the visits with their father?
Yeah, they talk to him and everything, and they all pass the phone around and stuff. So they do interact with him.
And when you had to interact with him for these visits, did he act appropriately with you?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Have you spoken to Mr. Jones's mom, Carolyn Kitchens?
No, I have not. The last time I talked to her was when it was like a phone visit or, over the phone, and the kids wanted to say hi to their grandma, and that was it pretty much. She would just talk to them, and then that was it. So I haven't had actual conversation like this with her.
Okay. So you haven't spoken to her about maybe supervising a visit with the children?
I haven't. No.
Is there anyone that you know that might be willing to supervise Mr. Jones's visits?
I want to say no, because I've had friends in the past that have tried, and he's made it difficult and been aggressive. So they don't want to do it.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think the court needs to be made aware of today?
Just I am moving, so my address is changing. I got approved for a bigger place to stay at in Temple, so I am moving, and I did notify him of the address and the house. And the kids are moving from the school that they were going to last year. They just started a new school at James L. Burrell in Temple off West Adams. So that's where we're going to be at. And it's only 8 minutes from the house. Like, walk down the street, around the corner, and there's the school. So it's all there.
Mr. Jones mentioned that you had told him he could see the kids at school. Are you concerned about him coming to the school to maybe have lunch with the kids?
That's what he also asked. I am. I'm saying no, because I don't think the school is aware of the situation that we have right now, like court and everything. If they were, I would have to see if they're okay with that. So I don't know how that would work with the school and everything.
Do you think that it might be upsetting to the kids, perhaps, if he showed up at school for lunch?
I don't think it would. I think they'll be excited and everything. I'm not worried about the kids. I'm more worried about how his behavior would be. Maybe if he gets upset and if the teachers say something, or, you see how he is. So that's all I'd say.
So you are concerned that that might not be in the kids' best interest?
Yes.
So you didn't tell him that he could see the kids at school. You didn't suggest that.
No, he suggested it, and I replied back with, right now I don't think he's stable enough to have that. So
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brimwell, your witness.
Ms. Garcia, can you hear me okay?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Is there, you may have answered this as part of Miss Jana's questioning, but just to get to the heart of it, when was the last time that my client saw the children in person? Do you remember?
I want to say sometime this year, beginning of maybe January, when he does his walking from Temple to Belton. So I don't know actually the month. I'm just gonna spitball it and say maybe February. He'd show up, knock on the door randomly, and that's when he see them. So I know it was this time this year, so I just don't know what month.
Okay. How frequently does he do that? Does he pop by unannounced?
He used to do it quite a bit, but he hasn't done it in a while. So yeah.
When he does pop by, how long are the visits usually?
Well, if I allow it and I'm out there and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, maybe about 30 minutes, he'll be out there and then he'll go. Sometimes when he does show up, I'm not home or someone else is here, or I am home and the kids aren't home because they're at school, so.
Have there been any incidents where he's gotten frustrated, angry, acted out of one of those little pop-by visits?
I wouldn't say act out, but probably just get upset to where he just leaves.
Okay.
Just a smart remark and then leave.
Okay. When was the last time y'all resided together? It was several years ago, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What has his behavior changed since y'all separated, or has it been the same?
To me, it's the same. I mean, after earlier on talking to you, yeah, it's still not changing. The attitude and, impatient.
Okay. Is there any set of circumstances regarding visitation that would work or that seems feasible? Just tell me whatever you think is doable, possible, practicable.
If I did visitation with him, maybe somewhere like in a public place or something, I'll feel a lot better. But also, maybe I can stay with me.
I've been Googling where you the school and everything is. I'm not looking at your address, but the school. There seems to be several parks close by, and I'll throw that out there at this time. As a possibility. And Mr. Fremont, let's go ahead and speed this up, please. Thank you.
Okay, so the potential for a couple hours at a park seems doable. Is that right?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay. Do you have any concerns that there'll be any incidents at a public location?
I don't. I want to say yes and no. I don't know because you never know how he might be feeling that day, or how I might come off and say something, and then he might pop off and get mad, and then the whole mood of the whole visitation just goes sideways. So it's like a yes and a no right now. It's very difficult.
I understand. Okay, and I think you said that he currently knows where you moved to. Is that right? You let him know?
Yes, I sent him a link of the house that I'm moving into, and I told him the school name for the kids that they're going to, the new school.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Dowling, your witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, folks, well, I've had to mute Mr. Jones and turn off his video because he was being inappropriate as far as the court's concerned. So at this time, Ms. Gustafson, any question, any other witnesses you wish to call or anything on redirect to Ms. Garcia?
No, sir.
All right. And Mr. Brimall just wrapped up. So at this time, any other witnesses? Sorry, you, Ms. I know the answer because we're on Zoom, but I have to ask that anyway. Any other witnesses at this time, Ms. Gustafson?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Brimall, any other witnesses, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Diamond?
If I could maybe have some direction from the court, if the court is inclined to do a final order, then I would either ask the court to take a note of the record as to what was testified to, and I could recite that, or I would need to recall Mr. Jones. But if we're not going to finalize it, then I can wait for another day.
I'm trying to see about doing this as a final order. This is not it's not changing anywhere anytime soon. And by anytime soon, I don't see anything appreciably changing in the next 6 months. Now, maybe if the medication and the circumstances with this physician take a little better effect, and maybe, but I'll let the closing arguments address that at this time to see if the ad litem or and Mr. Brimhall are looking to make this a final. And of course, Ms. Garcia has to keep coming, and so does Mr. Jones. So I'll let them tell me whether or not they wish to make this a final, and then what recommendations are what they're asking me to do here today. All right. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna start with you on that one, Mr. Brimhall, and then go. I'm sorry, I'll start with Ms. Gustafson because again, she's representing the kids. What do you want to try to do on this one, Ms. Gustafson, going forward as far as visitation and any contact with the children based on what you know? All right. And again, it doesn't look like we're gonna get a third party on this. And Mr. Jones obviously doesn't have the financial means to pay a supervising facility. So.
Yes. Well, in this situation, because of the financial limitations and us not having the access to third parties, my observations are that mom really is not trying to limit dad's access in this situation. It seems to me that she very much is supportive of dad's relationship with the kids. I mean, even in these circumstances where there's been a past protective order and there's been some, behavior that's, frustrating. She's moving to a new location and the kids are changing schools, and she's already provided that information to dad. And so it seems to me that mom very much is concerned about what's best for the kids. And so in this situation, I think that if mom is willing to do it, if we could set visitation up in a public place and give her the discretion to end the visitation if something does not go well, or she feels like something is inappropriate, or if she arrives and something is inappropriate, if it seems that dad is not on his medication or he's confrontational, because certainly the children don't need to be around that inappropriate behavior. I would feel comfortable giving mom that discretion in order for dad to be able to have visitation. There are certainly times when Mr. Jones seems to be able to act appropriately, and you can tell he very much cares about his children, and his kids care about him. But I normally would not ever recommend for one parent to have the discretion to end a visitation. But I have seen time and time again that Miss Garcia really does go above and beyond to allow her kids access to their dad. Certainly the phone visitation, FaceTime visitation needs to continue with the adjustment to the hours so that, they can be in bed on time to be ready for school the next day. But I believe that would probably work the best in this case for now. No unsupervised time, no extended time, but visitation in a public place, with her having the ability to end it if things start going inappropriately. And I would say maybe a 2-hour time frame at the most.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brimhall.
I was appointed for Mr. Jones originally because of his mental health concerns. I really struggle as to what to recommend. I mean, given the testimony that's come out.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Brimhall, obviously you can make an argument for what type of visitation you think your client could handle, that sort of thing. Yeah. But right now, I'll let you also, I'm more interested in your take on whether or not, and again, I hate to do this, but whether or not you feel that this Mr. Jones is going to be available, well, as far as being actually able to work a full-time job and make a living and meet all the child support. So whatever you feel is appropriate for your client, so that's who you're representing, is what you probably need to go ahead and argue at this point, sir. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would certainly argue that possession and access can be done under the right circumstances. I think Mr. Jones can act appropriately when he's properly taking his medication, and I think that's appropriate. Regarding whether he can work, I know he has worked. The payment record in the case, there was income withholding coming out of some paycheck all the way until 2022. I don't believe he's worked continuously or extensively since. I do have some concerns about his ability to maintain a full-time job. So if the court is inclined to order support, I would request that it not be based on any prior experience or prior job or potential job on the horizon, but rather that it just be based on the minimum wage presumption, just based on his history of sporadic employment. He had mentioned that he's not receiving SSI at this time. Obviously, if he is, that would be a reason to modify in the future. But as of right now, I think if the court is inclined to order support at this time, that it just be based on minimum wage for the 4 children he has, and one other child too. He has 4 in this case and 1 other child. Sorry.
All right, thank you, Mr. Donovan.
So yes, Your Honor. So the way I calculated, now I realize it's a little bit rough, but the state's asking for retroactive support, and I calculated that retro support on the 2 children at $260 a month, and I'd said this earlier, but the retro period is 27 months. Actually, these calculations are out of date. The retro period would actually be 28 months, but maybe we just keep it the way I had it. So if we use 2/3 of that, $4,680, it's actually a little bit more, but if we could just use that number, $4,680, and then whatever the court feels would be fair as far as repayment. And then guideline support, Your Honor, 4 in, 1 out, ask the court to use minimum wage. And I can recalculate if the court wants to use a different gross, but $358 would be the child support, and requesting $45 cash medical reimbursement. And Your Honor, the state would also request non-disclosure. I think that Mr. Jones has done enough just on his own to show that there's a concern that needs to be addressed here.
All right, then. It's Garcia. I'm looking at obviously
pay you whatever it is, since she's a drug dealer and she gets away with all the kids and everything like that. That'd be perfect.
All right, I had to remove Mr. Jones. Sorry. Yeah, that's just, I don't want to put him in jail, so I'm going to cut him off at that point. So it doesn't work. So anyway, Ms. Garcia, obviously, I don't want. I would definitely at this point not grant anything for him going anywhere near that school, because if he ends up at a school, he can end up doing at least 180 or 360 in county jail at the
And
minimum.
I'll be there to see him, and I'm not going to do that.
So I'm not going to give him any rights to the school. That's just something that goes south in a New York minute. And I don't want the man in jail, but obviously they because the school can't play with it. They don't have time to deal with mental. They just got to deal with the safety of their children, and they will have him arrested. So yeah. So, ma'am, I'm looking at parks near you, and I'll go ahead and let you do some research on that. I'll look. You can always use parks near his mom. That way, his mom can show up and maybe make this a little easier, because the sons have a tendency not to act out for their mother too darn much. It's but based normally, but still. So do you know what park is near his house, or do you know anything close to him?
Shoot. If I can remember right. I wouldn't say any good parks. That's kind of like.
He lives on 12th Street in Temple.
So,
but if I was to get somewhere, he could actually walk a couple of miles. Because you can walk a couple of miles easier than when he can walk a couple of miles to his park easier than walk into a park near you. So
true.
So I think I can find a nice park, and I'll have Ms. Gustafson looking at that also and make some recommendations. But
because I feel like that would be a lot better, because a park would be just simple. And maybe we just stick it to a park. They could get their energy out and see him and everything else, and it's close by, and then that's it. Because I'm not picking him up and taking him to another park. I'm not doing that.
Right.
The gas is a lot.
All right, so I'll go ahead. Again, I'm going to look for something close to him. I'll let you decide, or he and you decide if, by agreement, if y'all want to meet somewhere other than that. Because right now it's 104 degrees outside, and going to a park at 104 degrees is not practical. I'm probably not looking to start this after the first of the month. It's already looking like it's going to start cooling off in the next couple of weeks. I looked at the long range forecast today, and we're back down until we got a couple of days coming up, 10 days out in the mid and low 90s. I'm going, wow, that's good. But right now, I'm looking at giving him visitation every other Sunday. We'll do it on a Sunday. That way, doesn't mess with everybody as much as possible. I was looking at the parks somewhere. You say that the kids are a little rambunctious to go to bed. Yeah, 4 kids hanging around at night trying to get into each other's business. Yeah,
Five.
5. I'm sorry. Yeah, my brother and I used to be able to bounce off each other for at least an hour. I can imagine what 5 would be like. So yeah. So anyway, I'm probably looking at something in the evenings around in the afternoon, somewhere from 3 to 5, and that way y'all can go grab something to eat on the way home and get that day and get the kids in bed by Sunday night. Or would you prefer Saturday, ma'am? Because again, Saturday, because I know, but a lot of people try to do their business on Saturday. I noticed that when I try to go down West Adams on Saturdays versus Sundays, there hardly anybody out there. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. Saturdays would be good.
Okay.
Saturday, yeah.
All right, so we can do Saturdays at 5 at 3 to 5. I'm not going to start that till the first Saturday of September. That way, it gets a chance to cool down and not be 104 degrees. Because on the first Saturday, it's probably the same. But if I remember correctly, when I was a child, 105 didn't mean anything to me outside. Okay, so
yeah,
that's super hot, but not the kids. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and looking. I make up my mind. Do I want to make you a sole MC though, and make him a possessory? What's the right now? What's the recommend? I can make him a joint MC, but restrict his rights. Ms. Gustafson, what are you recommending? Or should I make?
I would recommend that she be a sole managing conservator, just because under the circumstances, I really don't see him being able to make any kind of useful joint decisions or anything like that for a long time. And if he has that title, what that means to so many people and what that would mean to him is, I see that causing lots of arguments.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So So I'll look at everything in Mom's Soul, and I'll let you, I'll ask you to go ahead and go through the list of rights under a possessor conservative that you feel are appropriate, and send that over in an email to Belinda, and I'll have those, and we'll have those put on the docket as part of it. Well, I'm looking at the name of Mom's Soul MC, Dad Possessory, giving Dad access on the first and third Saturdays of the month from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock at an appropriate park. And Miss Garcia, if you want to do a little research and figure out which parks might work best for you, one near you,
Yeah.
one near him, and get that information to Ms. Gustafson, I will include those as the one. Y'all can agree to other spots. Y'all want to go to the Temple Mall and I'm not even sure. I haven't been in Temple Mall in over a year, but they used to have that area for kids, but your kids are probably too old for that. But if y'all want to go to another neutral spot, it's fine. But otherwise, I would want to have specific spots, specific parks in there. I will go ahead and give him a FaceTime telephone access to the children. Right now, he gets 2 times a week.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Wednesdays and Thursdays, from 6. I think it was like an hour. It was like
right now it's 6:30.
On
Okay.
Thursdays.
Is it Wednesdays and Thursdays or Wednesdays and Sundays? That's usually about the standard.
Yeah, it started out that first week you gave him Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sunday, but then it went to Wednesdays and Sundays, I believe.
Okay. So I'm going to keep it at Wednesday and Sunday since the visitation is going to be on Thursday. So let's do Wednesdays and Sundays, and we'll do that instead of at 6:30 at 6. And going as far as that's concerned. And
during the week, we wanted to move it to 5 because the kids are in bed by 6:30, and if it's an hour visit.
All right, well, let's do Wednesday and Friday, Sunday at 5 p.m. Okay. All right.
And will all this be on like documentation that I'll get sent, like an email?
I'll be in the
I'm gonna
order,
forget all these days. I'm gonna forget the time.
It will be in there, and you can, and I always give you permission to contact Ms. Gustafson and run it because it's going to read like a lawyer wrote it because lawyers did. So, but you'll get a copy of all this, and you go over it with Ms. Gustafson. In fact, I'll have her go over it with you specifically based on your circumstances. Just as, this is what the court has ordered in behalf of my clients, and I'll ask her to Ms. Gustafson, if you could set aside a hour and a half appointment online with Ms. Garcia to go over it all with her. The court will gladly pay for it. Again, these are definitely special circumstances. So, all right then. So I'm looking at that. So we're gonna figure out what possessory rights he'll have. We'll go ahead and we set up the visitation. We'll set up the telephonic visits, and I'll have Mom, like I say, tweak the parks that she would like to use close to her. The ones closest to Dad that's nice. Because again, I don't know what's nice anymore. My youngest just got back from Columbia, and she brought me coffee and Cohiba. So yeah, we're way past going to the park at this age. All right. So yeah. So I'm not sure what's appropriate as a park. So ma'am, I'll let you figure. You as a parent would know, and me as a grandparent would not. So there. Yeah. So I'll let you get that to Ms. Gustafson and come up with some. And actually, I hate to put that on you to figure it out, but you're the one that's going to be going there. So I know you'd like to go somewhere and take your kids somewhere that's appropriate. Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, I'm going to waive court costs also as part of this deal, Mr. Diamond. I'm going to go ahead and order child support based on the guideline amount going forward. I'm going to go, Mr. Diamond, I know the father had been in the hospital on several different occasions. I know it didn't sound like any of them were for a month or longer, but obviously some of them did happen in the retroactive time frame. But what we're asking for is what the court feels that's reasonable. It's not a lot of money, but the likelihood that this is going to be problematic in the future, I think, is going to be tremendous. So I'm looking at granting it, sir, but I'm looking at my concerns whether or not some of that retro going is a little bit may include times that the father was, like I said, in some type of facility. So, but none of my notes show what dates those were, other than the original one when we had that one hearing when he was actually released that date. So. Is anyone aware of the number of days that he's actually been in facilities over the last couple of years?
My understanding from talking to him is that it's been a few times and several days at a time. They basically get him stable. I believe he's probably admitted under EMTALA, and then as soon as he's stabilized, he's released. So I don't think it's been any kind of long-term, lifelong, or it's not been any kind of long-term inpatient treatment as far as I'm aware.
It's like 10 days he's able to be in those facilities that he goes to.
Yeah, so I think that sounds right to me based on what I've been told.
I beg your pardon. I mean, Ms. Garcia may not agree with this. I'll abandon the request for retroactive support. I don't want to create some kind of reversible error. I mean, I think, like the court said, I don't think that Ms. Garcia is going to see a dime of this guy's money anyway, and so there's no point in giving him something to attack collaterally. At least you'll have a custody order for these children.
And I'll go ahead and order regular child support going forward, Ms. Garcia, because obviously he's out in the free world, he's out in the real world, and he's an interviewer. But again, the odds of this gentleman, if he did what he did today in Zoom court to anywhere near an employer, it's not going to be a long-term employment. So it is what it is. So
it's embarrassing, is what it is.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and order guideline child support going forward, Mr. Diamond. I'll order to start the first day of September. I would almost go with I would almost go with the first day of June, July, or August, but I want everything in that to be enforceable if it has to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and order the first day of September going forward for the guideline support as requested and the cash medical as requested. So I'm going to order child support in the amount of $358 and cash medical in the amount of $45. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then I'll start those the first day of September. I'll go ahead and, like I said, allow Ms. Garcia to make a couple of recommendations to Ms. Gustafson and her to get that information to Belinda, which part she would like to use. Again, I want to do at least one near you and one near him, and I'll leave it up to you which one you want to make the main one. Do you want to go over close to him, or do you want him to come to you? You let Ms. Garcia, Ms. Gustafson know, and I'll make that the one. All right.
Yeah. Because I don't see him making it. There's one of the ones by me. I really don't. It'd be like every time it'd be missed, and we're gonna have visitation.
Yeah, bad at you about that, and bad at me about that, and bad at Ms. Gustafson about that. But at least if he's close to where his mom, then maybe even the mom be able to drop him off, So, he's one of those guys that walks a lot. When you say walks to Belton, I haven't walked to Belton since I was a teenager. So, walked from Total to Belton in a long time. So, and it wasn't fun then. So, all right. Then, and like I said, I'll waive court costs. I'm not gonna. It's not going to be worth that. So. Is there anything else right now that I need to specifically rule on, Mr. Diamond? Because I am going to finish up with the visitation package as far as the drop-off spots. We've got the time frame for the telephonic, and I'm going to have Ms. Gustafson give me the rights under possessory conservatorship under the family code she thinks are appropriate for Mr. I'm sorry, God, I just forgot the guy's name that fast, and I shouldn't forget Mr. Jones anytime soon. I won't. But anyway, is there anything else that any lawyer thinks I need to specifically rule on other than those items that we're getting ready? We'll do as part of the final once we get the information.
Well, I don't know if you wanted to put this in the order or rule on it, but I had asked perhaps that mom have the discretion to end the visitation.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I'm sorry. Yes, no, I'm sorry. Put that as part of the package you send over to Belinda, and I'll make sure, and we'll make sure it's in there. But Mr. Don, you go ahead and put that in there right now. Your mom will have the absolute right to end the visitation as she sees appropriate for protection of herself or the children. Okay. Yes,
sir. And I support that decision.
Not visitation overall, but individual visitation for periods. Because it sounds like he has better days than others, so it is what it is. And that's
a bad day right now.
Yeah. And I'm not going to ask what I was afraid to ask him what he was smoking. I really was. So
no, he seemed normal. Like he had his medication, but that's just him. That's the problem. That's just him. That's the problem. Yes.
Right. And Your Honor, may I have a ruling on non-disclosure as well?
Well, she's already given him her new address and the new school where the kids are.
I'd still love for her to have the opportunity to move away and get away from him if she needs to.
Oh, if it's that bad,
Well, here's the deal, man. Going forward, I can order that you don't have to give him information about where you moved to. I will order that you maintain the phone number and all that so he can talk to the kids. But going forward, I'll leave it up to you whether not to give him that information. All right, I'll grant the non-disclosure.
Yeah, I already gave him the address, but I doubt he'd show up. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you never know. So
Yes.
anyway, I'll grant the non-disclosure. So.
And do I give you guys my new address too, right? That way you could put it on there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'll be in touch, Ms. Garcia.
We're on Zoom, so we're on YouTube, so and I'd hate to see what the remarks are right now, but they are what they are. So anyway,
I'll reach out to you later if it's okay, Ms. Garcia.
That's fine. Yeah.
If I could summarize what I think I've heard is the court's ruling, just so I didn't miss anything.
Okay.
I believe the court ruled that the parties are, mom is appointed sole managing, my client is appointed possessory. The visitation is going to be on the first and third Saturdays beginning in September from 3 to 5. They're to be supervised by mom or someone she designates at either a park close to where he's at or close to where she's at. He's not to have any of the rights regarding school or school functions under the family code.
Put that in there, Mr. Burrow. You're allowed to get him coming after you. So let's go ahead and say he's awarded certain rights under possessory conservative under the possessory conservative statutes of the Texas Family Code to be determined by the court and placed in the order.
Okay. And then the telephonic visits to continue Wednesday and Sunday at 5. No court costs, guideline support of $358, medical of $45, both beginning September, and mother has discretion to end the visits if needed, and then non-disclosure granted. And then regarding retro, just a denial of the retro request.
Dropped, yes.
Okay, all right. I don't think that I think that covers everything.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Gustafson?
No, sir, I don't think so.
All right, Mr. Diamond, anything else, sir?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Garcia, do you have any questions, ma'am?
No, I think that's it. Pretty much.
All right, ma'am. Hopefully we'll help you out as much as we can. If anything crops up, until I sign the order, this thing is still open, so we can always come back if necessary. After I've signed it, we've got 31 days after I've signed it to come back in. Otherwise, it becomes a final and carved in stone order, okay?
Okay. So from today, right? From today?
No, 31 days after I sign it. So for right now, so at a minimum, it's going to be at least another 40 days before this becomes a final order, ma'am, based on the fact that I've signed it and it's been the 31 days afterwards, okay? So everybody's got to prepare this, and it's going to take a few days. And after that, after I sign it, though, there's 31 days that the court can come back in and fix things or change things around. But after that, I can't.
Okay, so if anything like visitation is just not working at all and it's getting aggressive every time and all that, we could switch it back to just video visits or something like that.
You would need to let Ms. Gustafson know that we need to come back in. Otherwise, it has to be brought to the court's attention in some manner, way, shape, or form, ma'am. And that usually either means your lawyer or the children's lawyer or his lawyer. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All righty.
All right, folks. Thank y'all all very much. Everybody here had the patience of Job today, and I think Job had patience. I'm not sure. I've heard that all my life. I just got to thinking about it, and I'm not sure about it. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get this set up, and I'll allow Ms. Gustafson to send that over in the email, and we'll put those in, and Ms. Gustafson CC Mr. Brimhall and Ms. Garcia on those, and if I add anything, I'll let them know also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank everybody very much, and we're off the record.